Just thank you for your support. And then also my parents, my family back home.
When the All Blacks needed front row depth on their South African tour, most fans expected an established name to step forward. Instead, the call went to a 26-year-old prop from Otago. Days later, Saula Ma'u was standing at Ellis Park, wearing the black jersey for the very first time ever. But this was no overnight success. Ma'u spent years working his way through New Zealand rugby, training, waiting, and battling injuries along the way. When his name was called up for the All Blacks, some fans knew exactly who he was. Others were asking one simple question: who is Saula Ma'u? Because his journey to the black jersey was anything but easy, and what happened after that, finally reaching the top, was even more emotional. Ma'u was born in Tonga on April 29, 2000. Before moving into New Zealand rugby system, he attended Auckland Grammar School, one of the country's most famous rugby schools, and in 2018, he represented New Zealand schools. That was an important early sign that his potential had been recognised. But potential is one thing, turning it into a professional career is something completely different. His rugby journey took him south to Otago, where he became part of the Harbour Hawks club. In 2019, he made his provincial debut for Otago. The pathway was starting to form. At the beginning of 2020, he was selected in the 52-man New Zealand under-20 training squad, even though he was not eligible for the actual under-20 side until the following year. Then the pathway became much harder. Ma'u was involved in the Highlanders high-performance program and spent 3 years taking part in training blocks with the Super Rugby squad before finally earning a professional contract. During that period, injuries repeatedly interrupted his progress. A knee injury limited much of the 2021 season, just when he was trying to turn potential into regular professional rugby. That is why the All Black story matters. It was never a straight line. Finally, in 2022, Ma'u earned his Highlanders contract and made a Super Rugby debut in round 3 against the Hurricanes. But even then, he did not immediately become one of the first names on the team sheet. Early on, he was used mainly as an impact player from the bench. Gradually though, his role changed. He became more established in the Highlanders front row. By the time the 2026 season arrived, he'd reached 51 Highlanders appearances, while also recording 27 Otago caps and 15 points. And that experience was beginning to attract national attention. In 2024, Ma'u was selected for the All Blacks 15 Northern Tour. That was a major step. It meant he was no longer simply a promising Highlanders prop. He was now inside the wider national picture. And when you look at his physical profile, it's easy to understand why. At 193 centimetres and 140 kilograms, Ma'u is an enormous tight head prop. His game is built around tight exchanges. He is a specialist front rower and his value starts within the work in the scrum. His size gives him natural power, but it's his ability to keep developing the technical side of that position that will determine how far he goes. Defensively in 2026 Super Rugby, numbers were also impressive. In 7 matches, he completed 41 tackles with a 91% tackle completion rate. That was among the highest completion rates for props in the competition. The attacking numbers tell a different story. He made 21 metres, beat no defenders, and scored no tries in those Super Rugby matches. But this is where rugby fans can sometimes get the wrong idea about props. A tight head does not need to be a highlight reel machine to be valuable. His job is not to produce 10 carries and 3 line breaks every match. His value is often hidden on the inside of the collisions, the scrums and the defensive sets. If the set piece is struggling, the front row usually gets blamed. If it works perfectly though, the props can almost disappear from the highlights. So what is the weaknesses in Ma'u's game? The honest answer is there is no need to invent one. His biggest challenge is simply proving that he can consistently perform at test level. He has only just made his All Blacks debut, so declaring that he has already solved every part of his game would be ridiculous. The numbers also show that he is not a major attacking threat, at least not in 2026 Super Rugby sample. His game is built around the fundamentals of being a tight head prop, and at international level, those fundamentals become brutally important. But there is another side to this. Props often develop later. The front row is one of the most specialised positions in rugby, and experience matters. At 26, Ma'u is not a teenager being thrown into the environment. He arrives with years of experience in the Super Rugby and All Blacks 15 tour already behind him. Then came the call that changed everything. The All Blacks were hit by injuries on their 2026 tour of South Africa. Chiefs prop Ollie Norris suffered a knee injury, forcing him out of the squad. Ma'u was called in as his replacement. Think about how quickly that can change a career. One moment you're back in New Zealand playing for your province, then you're flying into the All Blacks environment in South Africa, and within days, your neighbour's on the bench at Ellis Park, and the opportunity Ma'u had waited for. He was now named among the reserves All Blacks match against the Lions, the final non-test game of the tour. and the match itself gave his debut even more meaning. The All Blacks found themselves under enormous pressure. The Lions pushed them all the way, and Ma'u entered the match in the 60th minute. There was no comfortable 20-point lead waiting for him. There was no gentle introduction to the international rugby. New Zealand needed to fight. The All Blacks won 41-35, but the game was far from convincing. The Lions were physical, competitive, and dangerous. So his first experience in the black jersey came with a match that demanded a response. And when the final whistle went, the emotion finally hit. After the game, Ma'u spoke about representing his family, his friends, his village, and everyone who had supported him. He became visibly emotional while discussing what the moment meant. For a player who dealt with injuries, spent years of developing and waiting for his chance, it was a reward at the end of a long road. And there was another detail that showed exactly how much the jersey meant to him. Ma'u joked that he might sleep with it. That is the human side of the story. Behind the 140 kilograms, the massive scrummaging frame, and the intimidating physical presence is a player who understood what it took to reach that moment. So where does he go from here? That is a question that makes the story even more interesting. The All Blacks have plenty of front row competition, and one debut does not guarantee anything. Ma'u was called in because of an injury. His appearance came in a non-test match against the Lions. Now comes the harder part, proving he deserves to stay. And that's where fans are divided. Some will see his size, his scrummaging potential, and his emotional debut and believe the All Blacks may have found a long-term tie ahead. Others will want to see much more before getting carried away. The important thing is he has earned that chance to answer those questions himself. His journey has already taken him from Tonga to Auckland Grammar, New Zealand schools, Otago, the Highlanders, the All Blacks 15, and finally the All Blacks. It included injuries that slowed him down, years of development, and a call-up that arrived because an opportunity suddenly opened. The next step is whether he can become a regular one. So what did you make of Saula Ma'u's debut? Did you think the All Blacks have found the next long-term front row weapon? Or do you need to see more before making that call? Let me know in the comments below. Ever wanted to create your own rugby highlights channel just like this one? With my course, the YouTube Creator Toolkit, I show you exactly how I do it. From the tools I use to the templates I built. You get everything. Just copy, paste, and start creating. Learn how to grow your channel, keep viewers hooked, and turn views into income. Click the link in the description below to learn more and start your channel today. Now back to the video. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more rugby content just like this. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
I know my friends and family are watching back home. I just want to say thank you and I love you guys. To my partner Nia, I know she's watching at home. Just thank you for your support. And then also my parents, my family back home.
You've got me as well. Congratulations. Go and enjoy it with your teammates.
Thank you guys. Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Well done.
Thank you.